I grabbed hold of the drill sergeant's uniform, and at the same time he takes me, presses my back up against the wall easily, like he's lifting a small sack of potatoes. As I'm fighting, he drags me out of there. One of the most memorable moments in my life as a military soldier was at the very beginning in basic training. I was at the tender age of 17 years old. I received a scare that stuck with me for a very long time, even after the military. It was just routine training. One of the things you do in basic training for the Army is learn how to operate your gas mask. You never know what's gonna happen on the battlefield. You might run into a gas attack and have to put on your mask and clear it so you can breathe. They spent a day or so teaching us how to do that. Then they said, we're gonna march over to the gas chamber there. You're gonna line up, all of you, with your backs against the wall inside of this chamber. One by one, the drill sergeant is gonna go stand in front of you. You're going to take off your mask, breathe in the gas, yes, and feel the effects of the CS gas, which is insane. Then you're going to put your mask back on, blow all that out, and just start breathing free and clear, right? Sounds simple. We march, we get there, we go into the chamber. The entire time I'm sweating bullets. I'd already messed up my leg before, so I was dealing with the pain of that as well. So I'm like, I'm not feeling this. We go into this chamber, and the last thing they say is most people will do this or they'll panic, pass out, anything can happen. So make sure you're a strong soldier and you deal with this properly, right? So we go in there, we line up, I'm standing side by side with my battle buddies. The drill sergeant gets in front of me. I'll never forget this guy. He's bald, thick mustache like black charcoal, had his Ranger tab. I knew he was high speed, much taller than me. I was basically staring at his chest, knowing I'm not going home. This is where I want to be. I went ahead with it. I took the mask off. I took a little breath of the gas. And that's where my plan went all to shit. From that point right there, I sucked in that gas, but I couldn't breathe. I had to cough a lot. There was snot flying out of my nose. There were tears coming out. The CS is basically just a tear gas, a strong one. I'm panicking, I'm freaking out, because when you're in those moments where you feel like your life might end, you can't breathe, that's instantly gonna bring that shock on. You go into fight or flight. Guess which one I did? I did the fight one. I grabbed hold of the drill sergeant's uniform, and at the same time he takes me, presses my back up against the wall easily, like he's lifting a small sack of potatoes or something. As I'm fighting, he drags me out of there. What's crazy was the conversation we had after that. He said, look, man, it seems like this is gonna be a real issue for you. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna tell you that this is a barrier, this is a wall for you to break through, because if you don't pass this exercise, I'm not gonna be able to let you go on. So he said, I'm gonna give you one more chance and we'll make this happen. Get yourself together, clean up your snot and tears, and let's go. Let's go back through with the second group. So I did. I went back through with the second group, breathed it in, almost panicked, but I got the mask on, I cleared it, and we went on with our day. That moment, I felt extremely proud to have made it through that major challenge. Over my 6 years after that in the Army, there were times where you had to recertify with a gas mask. And every time those times would come up, I would be like, oh man, it's coming. But I would be scared of it and all that stuff. But some magical reason, I'd always get out of it. I'd either be transferred somewhere or be put on some task, or I would deploy. But either way, whenever it came time to do the gas mask again, I was out of it. That created some issues for me up in my head, because from that point forward, anytime I had to wear a mask, put anything on my face, I would immediately rip it off. As a veteran, it brought those feelings of panic and fear right back into the forefront. I didn't like things like when my wife would want to mess around with my face or my beard, I would move her hand away. I just had lots of issues around that. That's the part that's crazy, is you don't realize how many times in your career there were different issues that occurred that affected you in a permanent way. The crazy part about it is I had to get over this fear, get over this PTSD, because I knew I wanted to train to become a calisthenics athlete one day. One of the things you need in order to train calisthenics and exercise for longer periods of time, bring out more strength, is control of your breathing. And how do you control and get your lungs stronger? You put on a training mask. Whenever I put on this training mask, it would bring on those feelings of panic. Through training for calisthenics, which became my passion, I pushed through that challenge and started to get over my fear of having things on my face and having my breath restricted. If I ever had the feelings of being suffocated, that was it. That was over. I'm trying to tell you right now to don't wait for those issues to occur later on. After you are out and you're fully officially a veteran, start to take survey of the different problems you might have and figure out ways that you can start to work through them or work with a professional on them, because you never know how it's going to affect you later. I had no clue that was the issue. I just made the connection years later after I'd already worked through the problem. You never know what issues you're working through. What makes it easier to do that? You're gonna think this is so stupid, but it's really about your emotions. When you start to get in touch and understand how you feel and gain control of how you feel, then you gain the ability to be able to read into those thoughts and those memories and start to see the root behind the problem, find the root of the problem. So that's what I would invite you to do. An easy way to do that is to journal. And I have an easy journaling framework. If you want a copy of that, I'm going to put a link to it probably in my profile.